Hi guys, how are you? Today I want to talk about something that I heard that actually made me think a little bit about life. So, someone recently called me spiritually strong, and I was like, why does that not sound right? And I realized it was because 2 years ago I was spiritually broken. Like, I did not want anything to do with my spirit. I was over it with God. I was over with like Bahá'í faith. I was over with Bahá'í activities, service, nothing. I wasn't praying, wasn't fasting. I was completely spiritually numb. Like I didn't feel anything. And thinking about it, when the person called me spiritually strong, I guess because I'm talking about the Bahá'í faith all the time, and I actually realized, yes, I did improve a lot in these 2 years. And today I want to share, what has helped me because I feel that could be useful and of service. And that I think I should also say that I have become spiritually stronger, but I am not spiritually strong as Abdul Baha or Martha Root or Thomas Breakwell. And that's the goal, but we're not there yet. Anyway, so I wanted to share a few things like that have helped me. And first of all, I would like to say that the reason why I became spiritually weak, there are a few reasons why a person can become spiritually weak. And I feel that for me, it was because some things I wasn't agreeing with in the writings, and some, and just like being around Baha'is and seeing things that I didn't agree that they were doing, and seeing how the faith wasn't strong enough to make like the Baha'i environment a positive environment. So I felt, if we can't be good Baha'is, like, and we have the power and the message of Baha'u'llah, if we cannot heal our Baha'i environment, we cannot even heal the world, So what's the point? And also the service that I was doing, I spent years and years, years and years, as if I was this old person. I spent, let me see, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years doing children's class in this very poor community, and my whole goal with it was that these kids would have a different future, so no drugs, no early pregnancies, no, a better future, going to school, things like that. And it just did not happen, after so much effort doing Baha'i activities with them, their future remained the same. So I was like, okay, this doesn't work. um, and then things like that just made me very weak. And yeah, many experiences, I feel also being like a teenager, I was going through trying to understand the world, right? So I was very spiritually weak and broken, and I was numb. And what I would like to share with you that has helped me, and hopefully it can help you, like if you are going through this, or if you know someone that is just out of it, like they don't even want to hear the word spirituality or God or Baha'i faith or Baha'is, like they're like, meh, thanks, no. And the things that helped me were, so I think thing number one was to just take some time off, even though it sounded completely, like for me, that I was raised a Baha'i, my whole life was doing Baha'i activities and service and devotionals and all that stuff. I took some time off, I did not go to devotionals, did not go to 19-day feast, did not do service, and I felt terrible. I actually felt like a covenant breaker or something. Sorry. But yeah, I felt very bad. I did not feel like a good person. But looking back now, I feel that was very powerful because taking the time off from the issue made me see it with more clarity, because when I was there, like experiencing that environment that was very toxic for me, it hurt more and it just made me want to repel more. So I was like, I cannot repel more than this, because or else I'm just going to go to the opposite end and start like becoming a bad person and actually doing bad things, I was like, okay, let's stop here and just be patient, think about this. And I wasn't really in the mood for praying, so I didn't pray God to help me. I was just like very sad and did not know what to do. So I just took some time off and quieted the external toxicity, I think that could be the word. So I think that was very powerful because when you're quiet and when you're just in the mode of listening to the inside of you, I think that's the best thing that you can do, because you can see, for example, in the hidden words where it says that our heart is where God lives. And so I was just like listening to my heart, and for me that's like divine inspiration, it's amazing. So even though I wasn't praying with my words, I was listening to God in a way. So that helped me a lot. Another thing that helped me a lot, besides, just removing myself and creating like a silent environment for me just to think things through. Another thing that helped me a lot was reading the writings, and that was so powerful. It was also around the time that I started sharing a lot of the quotes that I was seeing, because they were just helping me so much. And that's why I have like the Instagram where I share the quotes and all that stuff, because these quotes were literally helping me so much. And realizing that I was not alone either, because when I found out that Sheikh Effendi, Baha'u'llah, all these people took time off because they could not handle the Baha'is. Because the Baha'is were that painful, Sheikh Effendi even says that the Baha'is were his greatest test. And I don't know what your test is, but if you're feeling spiritually weak, try to understand why and then work on that. But for me, it was like the Baha'is and some of the writings. I couldn't really agree to some of the writings, and I feel now that that was because we have like this limited, or we like what we understand in the writings is limited to our capability to understand. I mean, we cannot understand the writings with the power and integrity that they have, like a person like Abdul Baha. So I just realized that, some things I cannot understand and cannot agree because my understanding is so limited. And the other things, I just felt relief because I saw that, for example, Sheikh Effendi took some time off to think and be by himself. And when he was appointed the guardian, because he did not want that, he even said that he knew that when he was appointed to be the guardian, his life was over. And he did not want that. So he went to Switzerland and he just stayed there and fighting with himself and fighting with God until he could conquer himself and surrender to God. That's so beautiful. And Baha'u'llah as well took, I think, 2 years off to, have that conversation with God, that pure, uninterrupted conversation with God. So take some time off, to just be quiet. You don't need to search for answers and search for this and that, just listen to your heart. Like every guidance that you need, everything that you need is inside of you. So just take some time to listen. Another thing that could also be called like meditation. So I guess one thing that really helped was meditation, just taking the time to be silent, reading the writings, because they have so much power and they are so helpful. There is a book that I really like. I'm even going to show you guys this book called Divine Therapy. It's probably backwards, you cannot see it properly, but it's a very good book. It has a bunch of Baha'i quotes on things that can help you out. There's this other book called Fire and Gold, which is very good. It has a bunch of quotes on tests, and it makes you understand the purpose of tests. It makes you love tests. It makes you want to learn from tests. And I think that another powerful thing of learning how to deal with tests and why we have tests is that tests really are here to test our faith in God, So I think that if we are going through a place where we don't have that much faith in God, that is really a test. There's this quote that says, how can we know the faithful from the unfaithful if we don't test them, So this is a test to show your faith. And even though you feel like your faith is weak, like, give it time, and hopefully it will regain strength. Another thing that I would like to say to my younger self when I was going through those things of like not being in complete agreement with like the Baha'is in the Baha'i faith is that it's so powerful to differentiate between Baha'is and Baha'i faith, because the Baha'i faith is pure and intact and beautiful and powerful. But Baha'is, we are flawed, and we are like limited, and we're not perfect. So when we can differentiate that, and when we can understand where we are also flawed, like individually, like I am also flawed, so I cannot be judging other people because they are flawed if me myself, I am also flawed. So it's good to have that differentiation of Baha'is and Baha'i faith, because if we consider the Baha'i faith to be what the Baha'is make it look like it is, we will be very disappointed, because this faith is so much better and powerful than that. And at the same time, we are all just trying our best. Nobody is trying to be mean or hurtful, or so just have that understanding that there are two different things. Okay, so 3 more things that I would like to say that helped me a lot was looking for Abdul Baha for inspiration of how my actions should be. So that book, Vignette from the Life of Abdul Baha, was very good, because you can see how Abdul Baha dealt with things in his daily life, and he is such an inspiring person. Another thing that I think is very important in any aspect of your life is just to be positive, to know that it will pass, that it's just a phase. Like Abdul Baha says, everything shall pass, this too shall pass, something like that, which I think is also in the Bible, because it's true. Like, happiness passes, sadness passes, it's a cycle. And the only true, real, everlasting happiness is the spiritual happiness, and this is how we are attaining our spiritual happiness. We're being tested if we deserve that spiritual happiness, something like that. I don't know, you make your own conclusions, but And the last thing that I would like to say is, I think Sheikh Effendi says this, that self-mastery is self-forgetting. So if you want to master yourself, if you want to become the best version that you can possibly be, like the spiritually strongest person ever, or the best person ever in whatever category you want to be, is how I think Sheikh Effendi says that the key to self-mastery is self-forgetting. So becoming as selfless as possible. Even Abdul Baha says that when we are so devastated that we cannot find comfort even in prayer, we should immediately go and help someone that is suffering more than us. And it just shows you the power of being selfless, because at the end of the day, we're only in this world to be of service, So that was it. I think these are the things that have helped me become spiritually strong. I would say that the main thing was reading the writings. That helped me a lot, and being silent, being patient and silent, and listening to my heart, because at the end of the day, listening to your heart is kind of like reading the writings, even though your understanding of your intuition can be flawed. It's still a very powerful conversation with God, just like prayer is. So yeah, I hope this can be a service. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you guys, everyone that is going through a tough time, can grow as well. And what has worked for me not necessarily is going to work for you, but I think that a great thing that everybody can benefit from is listening to your own needs. I think that's essential. Okay, so that would be it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah, bye bye.